Dear students of Communicative English, today we shall discuss some interesting topics such as presenting a skit, then homophones, then some exercises in grammar regarding the active and passive voice that we have discussed in detail, and we'll touch upon the speaking, listening and reading skills. Now all of you know what a skit is. What is a skit? It's actually a short play with catchy dialogues and it's quite interesting. It lasts only for a short time. So you got an explanation of a skit. So as I told you, it might revolve around something witty and amusing or some definite theme. Some skits are only for laughter. So you could also enact some skits. So you could use your creativity, frame dialogues and play a short skit with this theme. Now let's move on to the next aspect, vocabulary aspect, homophones. Now what are homophones? Words that sound the same but have different meanings and spellings. You got some examples in your textbook. Now all these help you to enhance your vocabulary. So you will have a strong command over the language when you master all these. Now examples of homophones. Now bear, bear. It's a large wild animal. A bear was killed in the wildfire. So you know that it represents an animal. Then dew and dew. Dew, D-E-W, water that is condensed on a cool surface overnight from water vapor in the air. So the dew drops shine like pearls in the morning, or there were drops of dew on the flowers early in the morning. Then D-U-E, dew is as a result. The building was damaged due to an earthquake, or his success was due to his hard work. Then whale and whale. Whale, W-H-A-L-E, it's a large sea creature, a mammal. W-A-I-L, whale is a cry of sorrow and grief. The whale let out a sorrowful wail across the sea. So, the creature let out a cry. We now move on to the next term, homonyms. Now, what are homonyms? Words that are pronounced the same and spelled the same but have different meanings. For example, park. So, you can say a public area close to nature. So, you can say there is a park near my house. Then park as a verb, the action of moving a vehicle to a place. Don't park your car here. So, those are the sentences. Now, you got some words in the box. Choose any 5 words from the box and write 2 sentences each to bring out the different meanings of the word. One has been done for you. So, you look at the book for the example. So, in this manner, children, please try all the words given there and improve your vocabulary. Now, homographs. So, see all the different names, different terms and see the subtle differences in the definitions there. Now, homographs are words which have similar spelling. So, same spelling but different pronunciation and meaning. So, here we concentrate on the aspect of pronunciation too. For example, object, object. So, object as a noun. So, it refers to an article, a physical object. Look at the first sentence. A strange object was washed ashore in the Marina Beach by the tsunami waves. Or you can even say, what is the object that you are holding in your hand? So, here it is a noun. Next is object, verb. To express an objection or protest. The soldiers do not object to working in harsh conditions. So, depending upon the part of speech, the pronunciation changes. It's because of the stress mark. Then you got something called antigrams. See, English is a very, very interesting language. Look at the different terms, the explanation and how the terms portray different meanings. They are names of specific words which have different functions. Antigrams are a pair of anagrams with opposite meanings. Now you might wonder what an anagram is. There you got the definition. An anagram is a word or phrase spelled by rearranging the letters of another word or phrase. So, it's quite an interesting exercise for you to do in order to improve your vocabulary. Now, look at this example. United, it is an adjective. Join into a single entity. So, group together, that is united. Now, untied, see the same letters but the combination is different and it gives you a new word and another meaning. So, here it is an adjective. It means not tied, unfastened. Look at the examples. Hurricane Katrina devastated the United States of America. So, a group of states known by the term United States. He untied the bundle of books. So, as given in the example, the letters are rearranged and the meaning too differs. Now, next we see another term, contronym. What is a contronym? An autoantonym or autantonym, also called a contronym or contranym, is a word with multiple meanings, of which one is the reverse of another. So, don't get baffled by the definition. Look at the examples, you will understand the term better. For example, dust. When you dust, are you applying dust or removing it? I say dust the chair. So, what are you doing there? Are you adding dust to the chair or are you removing the dust from the chair? It depends on whether you are dusting the crops, adding, or furniture. So, removing the dust. Then seed. If you seed the lawn, you add seeds. So, when you seed something, you are adding seeds to it, planting the seeds. But if you seed a tomato, you remove them. So, you take a tomato and seed it, remove the seeds. So, see how the same word, same pronunciation, but the meaning is opposite. Underline and understand the appropriate homographs in the sentences below. The bandage was W-O-U-N-D around the W-O-U-N-D. So, first word is past tense of wind. So, it is wound. Okay. The bandage was wound around the wound. So, look at the difference in the pronunciation and the meaning also. It was applied around the injury. Johnny was content with the content. So, content is satisfied. Content is the matter, the subject matter, or whatever had been given to him. The students project their project using a smart board. The students project, verb. So, they show, they deliver their project, their assignment using a smart board. To give you some practice, I got a set of words, homophones. Now, let us go through those. He is an accessory to the crime. A-C-C-E-S-S-A-R-Y. So, an accomplice or a partner. The next word is your accessory does not match your dress. It is A-C-C-E-S-S-O-R-Y. So, difference in the spelling and difference in the meaning. Second set, my sister likes a seat by the ale. Ale is the pathway there, the seat near the pathway. I'll see that you get justice. So, I'll, it is a contracted form of I will. The isle is filled with trees. I-S-L-E, isle is the short form of island. So, see the difference here, almost same pronunciation. In third set, ales and ale, 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 A-I-L-A-L-E. He ails from a deadly disease. So, he is afflicted with a deadly disease. The sailors drank a lot of ale, A-L-E, a kind of drink similar to wine. Next is allowed and allowed. You will not be allowed, A-L-L-O-W-E-D, if you do not come in uniform. Next sentence, read the poem aloud, A-L-O-U-D. Then augur and augur, A-U-G-E-R, A-U-G-U-R. Now, A-U-G-E-R is a tool for boring holes in the wood, for creating holes in the wood, drilling. The carpenter used the augur to modify the woodwork. Next is A-U-G-U-R, that is to indicate a good or bad omen. Your presence augurs a bright future for us. Now, the next set is oral, oral. Pronunciation is identical. A-U-R-A-L, O-R-A-L. Now, oral is pertaining to your hearing sense. Your speech has visual and oral aids. A-U-R-A-L is oral, and oral statement will not be accepted. Please put it in writing. So, same pronunciation. Then the next one, bald, bald. B-A-L-D, B-A-W-L-E-D. The old man's head was bald, B-A-L-D. The rich man bawled at the beggar rudely, B-A-W-L-E-D, uttering words angrily, shouting, that is bawled. Then band, a band of singers entertained the students. So here, band is a group of musicians. Smoking is banned here, B-A-N-N-E-D, prohibited, forbidden. Bait, bait. The worm attached to the rod was a bait for the fish. So something used to tempt the fish and to catch it. a trap. We were waiting with bated breath for the result. Bated. So to restrain your breath. You're just holding your breath. Then bark. His bark is worse than his bite. So it's a mixture of all sorts of words here. So bark. His bark. So the way he shouts. The bark of the tree is thick. Again bark. The trunk. Then the middle mast of the bark is broken. B-A-R-Q-U-E. So what does it mean here? The middle mast of the bark. Now bark is a kind of ship with 3 masts. So of these M-A-S-T-S, masts, the middle one is broken. Then beer, beer. People in cold countries drink a lot of beer. B-E-E-R. Now remember, it's not beer as we pronounce it in Tamil. It is beer. B-E-E-R. The procession followed the bier to the graveyard. B-I-E-R. Bier is the stand on which the coffin is placed. When they take the dead body to the graveyard, they place it on the bier. Then next is bite, bite. B-I-G-H-T, B-I-T-E. The bite was trailing on the floor. It is the loop of a rope. B-I-G-H-T. Barking dogs do not bite. You know the meaning of bite here. And then bitten, bitten. B-I-T-T-E-N, B-I-T-T-E-R-N. So the man was bitten by the dog. So past participle of bite. The next one, bitten is a bird. Bird like a heron. Similar to a heron, these birds are found in marshy places. So I could say many bitterns were found in the marshlands. Then next is born, bone. B-O-R-N-E. So a baby was born to my sister yesterday. Or the newborn child keeps crying all the time. So here the spelling is B-O-R-N. Now the next word, B-O-R-N-E. All his sufferings were borne patiently. B-O-R-N-E. Or this is a waterborne disease, an airborne pollution. All these things, here the spelling is B-O-R-N-E. So please bear it in mind. So we learnt a little bit of pronunciation as well as meanings and the part of speech of different words. Now we go back to our textbook and we look at the exercise on grammar. So what is your exercise here? In the following report, note the use of the active and the passive voice. It is daylight robbery. Another incident of daylight robbery came to light when 6 robbers ransacked a house in broad daylight. So 6 robbers ransacked what? A house. So this is of the active voice. I hope you would recall the lesson on active and passive and the exercise and transformation which you had witnessed earlier. So bearing those principles in mind, try this exercise. So here in the first sentence, 6 robbers ransacked what? A house, object. Robbers, subject does the action. Therefore this sentence, the verb here is of the active form. The robbers acted as credit card dealers and gained entry into the house easily. So here you leave it as it is. Here it is intransitive. The family of 5 was overpowered by someone. So obviously this is the passive. Family does not do any action. The family was overpowered by someone and the inmates couldn't raise an alarm. So here inmates couldn't raise what? An alarm, and therefore this is of the active voice. The robbers fled away with jewellery worth 2 lakhs and 16,000 rupees in cash. Again, fled away, intransitive. You cannot convert this into the passive. The police were contacted and fingerprints were collected. So were contacted naturally by the inmates of the house. So passive. Fingerprints were collected naturally by the police. Agent is obvious here. So again this is passive. Now rewrite the following sentences in the passive form. This is a textual exercise. The Champagne sacrificed animals. So past tense, animals plural. Animals were sacrificed by the Champagnes. They shot arrows at helicopters. Arrows again plural. So arrows were shot at helicopters. The Champagne boy was picking my pocket. Was picking past continuous tense. So my pocket was being picked by the Champagne boy. He reads the jungle like an open book. So the jungle is read like an open book. If you want, you can include by him. Now your friends visited you and you made coffee for them. So below is the description of how you prepared coffee. Firstly, enough milk was poured in a pan. So the required quantity of milk was taken in a pan. Then an equal amount of water was added. So the same amount of water was added to the milk. The pan was placed on a stove and the milk was boiled. So naturally you boil the milk to prepare coffee. Next, 4 spoons of sugar and 4 spoons of instant coffee powder were added to it and mixed thoroughly. Finally, it was poured into cups and served hot. So for this description, normally in recipes, in cookery tips and all, you use the passive. So this is how you describe a process. I hope you would have understood this exercise on grammar. Students, we now move on to an exercise on reading. Now the passage is very lengthy, so I'll just stop with 1 or 2 questions. You follow the procedure and continue with the rest. Now I'll just start reading the first para. It's a report taken during Cyclone Hadhad. Disasters are inevitable but happen unexpectedly. That is why they are disasters. While all disasters may not be the necessary results of unfortunate natural events, more often they occur when these events intersect with vulnerable human environment, particularly inappropriate location of settlements, inadequate infrastructural development, and lack of capacity building of communities to deal with natural events or dangers lead to disasters. Since the ability of the human environment to withstand the impacts of danger plays a direct role in the number of casualties and monetary costs of disasters, it is important to reduce the vulnerabilities within the environment and enhance its capacity for disaster mitigation and reconstruction if we are to be resilient in the face of disasters. So now don't worry about the difficult words. Whenever you consider reading passage, first read the passage once or twice or even 3 times. So if there are some new words, don't get baffled, don't get worried, don't get scared. Read it again and again and try to guess the meaning in the context. That will help you a lot. Now fix the word in the context and try to understand the meaning. Now look at the question given here. Why do disasters end up hazardous at times? Why are they sometimes dangerous? So when you revise the passage, you find that the answer lies in this sentence, in part of this sentence, second sentence, in part of it, when these events intersect with a vulnerable human environment. So combine both, combine the question, part of the question and the answer and say, disasters end up hazardous at times when they intersect with a vulnerable human environment. So read the passage, understand the meaning, understand the question and then give the answer. Now look at the questions. When and where did Hadhad hit severely? So this is a very direct question. Though the paragraph is lengthy, the answers you could just select them when you revise the paragraph. So you got the date and the place and the time of the year here. So Hadhad, a very severe cyclonic storm. So you can say Hadhad hit the east coast at Visakhapatnam on 12th October 2014. So we answered when and where. Both points have been answered. So you could here directly lift the sentence from the passage because it is a direct question. Next question. Human casualties were restricted to the minimum. How? So here again you got the explanation. Towards the end of that para, you got the term attributed. So it was due to. So human casualties. Less human casualties. So how did this occur? So you can say human casualties were restricted to a minimum by the sustained preparedness and mitigation measures undertaken in the past and effective and timely response initiated by the central and state governments right from the early warning stage. So sometimes the questions are direct, sometimes you got to understand and reword and rephrase the sentence and write the answer accordingly. Now we move on to the next part, the talk show. So here you got a question. You are the director of a talk show for a TV program. Host a talk show with some of the survivors of disasters and bring out the management measures set out by the authorities and the public. So you're going to host a talk show with a farmer, a fisherman and the survivors of cholera. So all these are people affected by disasters. So when you talk to the farmer, you could include questions on famine management, flood, pesticide, inflation. So it could be a discussion on all these areas and all these topics could be carried out. Then fisherman, sea level, tsunami, cyclone, cross-border issues. All these could be discussed and highlighted in the talk show. You could get their opinion. Survivors of cholera, get statements from them. Disease breakout, medical aid and recovery. So you can even base it on this COVID-19 now. You could talk to someone who has been affected by COVID and has survived it and ask the person to narrate his experience. You could raise questions. You could talk to others and discuss, and this will be your talk show. So you got some hints here. What is a talk show? It is a chat show, especially one in which listeners, viewers or the studio audience are invited to participate in a healthy discussion. So it's thrown open to all. You can voice your views. How to host a talk show? Know the theme of the talk show or discussion. So first be prepared. Understand what the idea is, what you're supposed to convey. Know your audience. So first be aware of the condition of the audience, whether the person has been affected by something, whether the person favors this or what would be his opinion, and their level also, how much of the topic would they have understood. Then understand the basic rules of the talk show. So it should be very polite. No derogatory remarks, no fighting, no argument, no bickering, no shouting at the top of your voice or trying to elicit the answers very rudely. So it should be a very decent, polite and a general discussion. Focus on your guest's views and listen. So when you're talking to a guest, so behave like a gentleman, be very polite and decent. Don't ask embarrassing questions and make them cringe in their seats. Be very, very polite and follow the decorum. Invite experts suited to the field of discussion. So you could invite experts, get their opinion, and it could be an enlightening experience for the viewers, the listeners, the audience. Be cautious of what you speak in the show. That's what I kept on insisting right from the beginning. So be very careful in your speech, the manner in which you word the questions, opinions, ideas, and so on. You will not be given a prepared script. Remember, everything is extempore, on the spot. So you will not get all the questions written and go and vomit it out there. It depends upon the answers or points or views portrayed by the participants. So very quickly, your presence of mind is very, very essential. Going to quickly formulate the next question or the next point or next idea, and you have to conduct it in a very good manner, in an interesting way. So this also could be practiced with your friends. Now we move on to writing. Here we discuss how to write an article. Article writing. An article, a piece of writing for a publication in a newspaper or a magazine. For publication in a newspaper or magazine is complete in itself. It can be on any subject. So the topic is wide. The article must be written in such a manner that it sustains the reader's interest. The reader's interest must be captured. It must be maintained, retained, and it should also be informative. It should give wide information. The reader should benefit on reading your article. Only then you would be a successful writer. So the article should have a suitable title followed by the name of the writer. Now some tips here. The article should be brief. Don't write pages and pages. It should be about a subject of interest. So something interesting and captivating. Interesting and enlightening. So on reading your article, the reader should benefit in such a manner that he has understood some more points, he has gained some more ideas on the topic. Language must be simple and correct. So once again, your grammatical language, everything comes to the core. So language should be simple. No need to have complicated sentences and very high vocabulary. It should be simple and it should be correct. Choice of words should be appropriate. So your diction also should be accurate. Should be coherent. What is coherent? The flow should be very smooth. The paragraphs or the points should not be disjointed. They should flow smoothly, linking one with the other. Now, what are the different types of articles? Narrative, reflective, descriptive, argumentative. Now, we move on to the last section, that is listening. Now, listening, you got a topic in your textbook. Towards the end of the book, you got topics for each unit. Now, I am going to give you a general one. Now, you will be tested in your practical examination on listening. So, a very brief paragraph, and I'll give you a sample of 4 questions. So, you just try to do it on your own. Of course, I shall discuss the answers here. Now, I am going to talk about Brunei. Just a bit of 6 to 8 lines. The Bruneians pay no income tax and benefit from subsidized housing, the interest-free government loans, top-class education up to university level is absolutely free, and so is healthcare. Brunei must be the only country in the world where nearly every citizen owns a car. The Indian journalists were taken aback by the total absence of people walking on the streets. The word pedestrian does not seem to exist in Brunei. A unique feature of Brunei is the water village, locally called Kampung Air. It's a sprawling township built on water. So thus the paragraph continues. Now I am going to give you 4 very short questions. So you could identify, the others are distractors, you could identify the exact word that the teacher had read out and you should fix the word in the blank. So students, please go through your textbook in detail. It contains plenty of wonderful exercise on all the 4 skills of the language: listening, speaking, reading, writing. You got beautiful passages, value-based passages, passages that teach you moral and good values. So read every passage carefully. Don't think that since questions do not occur from the passage in the examination, you could omit them. No. Please read the passage so that you'll get the idea of how to face your examination, how to select the answers from the passage. So do all the reading exercises thoroughly and painstakingly, and practice a lot of speaking with your friends, with your teacher. Make use of the opportunity to develop and enhance your language and improve your writing. Please write some good essays. You will gain practice in this only by writing and getting it corrected by your teacher. So read a lot. Reading is a must. So read whatever you set your hands upon. So that will definitely be helpful in some way or the other. You learn idioms, you learn vocabulary, you learn new terms, you learn sentence structure, you learn the style, you learn the language. So please read a lot. So speaking, listen to the passages. So grasp the main ideas and try to focus on the answers. So listening, speaking, reading, writing. Your book gives thorough training in all these aspects, and I'm sure you will be excellent learners of the language and well-versed speakers and writers when you complete your higher secondary education. Thank you so much.